In 2004, the NBA held its MVP vote. Kevin Garnett finished first, Tim Duncan finished second, and third, Jermaine O'Neal, ahead of Peja Stojakovic, ahead of Kobe Bryant, ahead of Shaquille O'Neal. Jermaine O'Neal even received 2 first-place votes. And if your immediate reaction is, wait, Jermaine O'Neal? Exactly. You forgot how good he was. Today, Jermaine O'Neal's career is remembered in fragments. The Pacers, the Malice at the Palace, a bunch of injuries, maybe bouncing around the league late in his career. But there was a stretch in the early 2000s when Jermaine O'Neal wasn't merely a good big man, he was considered one of the best players in basketball. And that seemed almost impossible when his career began. Portland drafted O'Neal straight out of high school in 1996. He was incredibly young and incredibly talented, and mostly incredibly good at watching Rasheed Wallace and Arvydas Sabonis play basketball. Portland was trying to win immediately, so O'Neal spent 4 years buried on a deep veteran roster. Then in 2000, Indiana traded established all-star Dale Davis for him, and suddenly everything changed. By his second season with the Pacers, O'Neal was averaging 19 points and 10.5 rebounds. He made the All-Star team, won Most Improved Player, and made All-NBA third team. This wasn't a young player showing flashes anymore. Indiana had found its next franchise star, and by the 03-04 season, he had reached his peak. O'Neal averaged 20.1 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks per game. Now, those numbers might not jump off the screen in 2026. 20 points today is what somebody averages after getting traded because his team needs more scoring off the bench. But you have to understand the NBA Jermaine was playing in. The average team in 03 and 04 scored 93.4 points a game. Indiana played at the 4th slowest pace in the entire league. Possession by possession, O'Neal was averaging 30.8 points, 15.3 rebounds, and 3.9 blocks per 100 possessions. And he wasn't doing that for some 32-win team where somebody had to take the shots. The Pacers went 61-21, best record in the NBA, still the best regular season record in franchise history. Indiana had a loaded team. Ron Artest was the Defensive Player of the Year. Reggie Miller was still Reggie Miller. Rick Carlisle had built one of the best defenses in basketball. So no, Jermaine wasn't single-handedly dragging 4 substitute teachers to 61 victories, but he was the centerpiece. He led the team in scoring and rebounding, protected the rim, demanded touches in the post, and became the guy Indiana could build its offense around. And the league noticed. All-Star starter, All-NBA second team, third in MVP voting. Not received a couple of votes. Third. The Pacers swept Boston in the first round, beat Miami in 6, and reached the Eastern Conference Finals. There they ran into Detroit. You might remember them. Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace. Basically 5 consecutive possessions of somebody elbowing you in the ribs. Indiana lost in 6. Detroit then went on to beat the Lakers and win the NBA championship. So Indiana entered the next season looking like a team whose championship window had just opened. Jermaine was 26, Artest was 25, and then November 19th, 2004, the Malice at the Palace. You've seen the footage, everybody has seen the footage. What sometimes gets forgotten is what that night interrupted. O'Neal was initially suspended 25 games before an arbiter reduced it to 15. Ron Artest was gone for the rest of the season. Steven Jackson lost 30 games. And one of basketball's best young teams went from championship contender to complete chaos overnight. And somehow, Jermaine's individual season became even more impressive. In the 44 games he played, he averaged a career-high 24.3 points. He scored 55 against Milwaukee in January. No three-pointers. Just 55 points worth of post moves, jumpers, free throws, and one extremely long evening for the Bucks front court. But after that, the injuries started stacking up. 44 games, then 51, then 69, then 42. And as Indiana's contender fell apart, O'Neal's place in the league slowly changed with it. Eventually, he became a veteran center bouncing between Toronto, Miami, Boston, Phoenix, and Golden State. And that's the version younger fans are more likely to have encountered, which distorts the picture. Now, let's not rewrite history too far. Jermaine O'Neal was not Tim Duncan, and he wasn't Kevin Garnett. And even at his peak, his offensive efficiency had weaknesses. In that MVP season, he shot only 43.4% from the field. But that's what makes the real story better. We don't need to pretend he was something he wasn't. He was a 6-time All-Star, a 3-time All-NBA selection, a Most Improved Player, the centerpiece of a 61-win team, and at 25 years old, NBA voters looked at Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and almost everybody else in basketball and decided that Jermaine O'Neal had a better MVP case. That's how good he was. You just forgot.